Good morning, Kuner country. Okay, my friends. What a press conference yesterday. So, as President Trump now is on his way to Alaska for what is potentially an historic summit between himself and Russian leader Vladimir Putin, Gavin Newsom now. Dark Gavin Rising from, Batman, Dark Knight Rising. By the way, I've got to say this. He must have legit had about a pound of hair gel on his hair yesterday. Holy mackerel. I mean, did he smack it on thick yesterday? People in California now, their nickname for him is Greasy Gavin, which I like, by the way. I mean, this guy, how much hair gel do you need? Anyway, there he is, Greasy Gavin, with a pound of hair gel on him, and his shades, his sunglasses, taking selfies of himself at his own press conference. He was in downtown Los Angeles. Karen Bass was there. All of the Democratic grand poobahs from California were there. And Gavin Newsom now says he will lead the resistance to Trump. He now is the man, according to him, quote, the Trump presidency is coming to an end. He will now bring Trump and the Republicans to their knees. And so, what is Gavin Newsom doing that is going to bring Trump and the Republicans to their knees? Is he going to drown them in hair gel? No. Is he going to put on his sunglasses and let the sun reflect off of his glasses and blind them? No. He now is going to push for an act, a bill that he says he has the votes to pass in the Democrat-controlled state legislature, the state assembly in California, that will set up, listen now to this, a November 4th special election. And on November 4th, that special election, the voters of California, the moonbats of California, because California's, it's a blue state, it's a Democratic state. And so Newsom is very confident this is the voters will pass it. He now will tear up the congressional map and further redistrict the seats in California. California, by the way, is already a heavily gerrymandered state. He says we're going to gerrymander it even more. Currently, California has 52 members in the U.S. House of Representatives. 9 of them are Republicans. Republicans get, on average, about 40% of the vote in California. Frankly, very similar to here in Massachusetts. Well, now Gavin Newsom says, in response to Texas, because Texas now is going to eventually redistrict, and they are going to gain 5 seats for the Republicans, and the Democrats are going to lose 5 seats. And the Democrats believe that 5 seats, or those 5 seats, along with the 3 that they already have as part of their majority, will make it almost impossible for them to retake the House in the 2026 midterm elections. And so, according to Greasy Gavin, he now is going to redistrict California, and I got to see how they do this, because he's now threatening it's going to go from 9 Republican seats to 0. 0. They're going to have 52 House seats, 52 Democrats. By the way, even now with 9 Republican House seats, that's only 17% representation of the population of California. Even though, as I said, Republicans typically get about 40% of the vote. So they're already substantially underrepresented because of the massive gerrymandering. Well, now Gavin Newsom says, to hell with it. I'm going to squeeze even more blood from a stone. It's going to go from 9 to 0. So Texas, we're going to match their 5, and then we're going to add an extra 4 seats, almost single-handedly willing the Democrats to a victory in the midterm elections. And then Newsom says, we are going to impeach Trump. We're going to defund Trump. We're going to investigate Trump. In other words, Trump's presidency will effectively come to an end. Listen now to Greasy Gavin saying, that's it. We have to disenfranchise Republicans. Take away Republican seats. Don't even give them a vote. Don't give them a voice. We have to destroy democracy to save democracy. Roll cut 10. A mic.
It is a 5-alarm fire for democracy in the United States of America. Donald Trump, who's trying to light a torch on democracy, continue to try to rig the election. His agenda is failing. His presidency is failing. He knows the headwinds in a midterm. Now he's dialing up for seats. He called Greg Abbott, who doesn't have the courage, doesn't have the conscience, and he has rolled over. And he said, yes, sir, and. So we have got to step up. We tried to play by a higher set of standards and rules with our independent redistricting, and we believe in that. We are talking about emergency measures to respond to what's happening in Texas, and we will nullify what happens in Texas. We will pick up 5 seats with the consent of the people, and that's the difference between the approach we're taking and the approach they're taking. There are no rules for Donald Trump. And this is a serious moment in American history. And so we are here to meet this moment head on. We will not be complicit.
He's such a clown. I swear, what a clown. This is the best the Democrats can come up with. Yeah, go put some more gel on your hair, you loser. Seriously, Greasy Gavin. So anyway, by the way, they keep going on about this independent commission that they have in California, which set up all of the redistricting in the past, the gerrymandering. It's loaded with Democrats. It's, completely tilted towards the Democrats. They have that thing rigged 6 ways to Sunday. So, these moonbats think, whoa, let's just put independent in front of it. And suddenly people will think, yeah, it's independent. So you phony, you fraud, you. But no, what he's clearly trying to do is 2 things. Number 1, there's no question now. Again, you want to talk about an all-out assault on democracy. He is now literally going to disenfranchise Republicans. They won't. Now think about this. In the biggest state in the union population-wise, 52 seats are going to that they send to the Congress, to the U.S. House of Representatives. Not even one will be a Republican member. Not even one. By the time they're done with their gerrymandering, not even one, with this joke of an election on November 4th. They're going to tear up that map that California has, and it's going to go from 9 to 0. And you're lecturing us on democracy as you destroy it and burn it to the ground? Now, that's number 1. Number 2, he's now made a massive mistake. I'm telling you, this is how stupid this guy is. He wants Illinois, New York, Massachusetts, Washington State, Oregon, these other deep blue states to follow him. Saying he's, he's, Dark Gavin. He's he's Batman. He's leading the resistance. Lead, and they shall follow. There's only one problem. You can't gerrymander Massachusetts anymore. There's already 0 congressional seats for Republicans. You can't gerrymander Washington State or Oregon anymore. Illinois, have you seen what they've done to that map in Illinois? You cannot gerrymander Illinois anymore. So the problem is they have no more room to squeeze out more Democrat seats. But hold on. The Republicans in many red states, there's much fairer redistricting maps that they have there, or political representation maps. You go, even Texas. Texas can go much further if they want. Florida can go much further if they want. Ohio, Missouri, You look at the Carolinas. You look at Kansas. I could go on and on. In other words, if they want to play this game, they're going to lose. And what you're witnessing now, and this is not an original thought on my part, many observers are now pointing out, this is now a civil war. This is now an all-out political civil war. Except this time, and I hope it stays like this, they're not being fought with bullets. It's being fought with votes, redistricting, and gerrymandering. But make no mistake about it, Gavin Newsom now is trying to rig the midterm elections, having gerrymandered for decades, having rigged the map for decades. Okay, Greasy Gavin strikes again. 619 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer, 617-266-6868. He now says California will match Texas's redistricting, and in fact even up it. He's going to now try to eliminate all 9 seats that are currently held by Republicans in the U.S. House of Representatives following a special election that's going to be held in California this November, on November 4th. Now, let me tell you what many California residents are saying, and it's not just Republicans. The way Newsom has run that state into the ground, arguably, and there's a lot of stiff competition for this title, but he actually may be the worst governor in the United States. And I know that that's really saying, look, I get it. You may disagree with that because there's a lot of good, strong candidates for that title, but he's clearly up there. He is a disaster as governor. He has turned California into a third world hellhole. You have illegal immigration overwhelming that state, to state the obvious. But California has the highest poverty rate in the country. That's under Gavin Newsom's leadership. The highest state income tax in the entire country under Gavin Newsom's leadership. The highest gas taxes and the highest gas prices of any state in the continental United States, and that's under Gavin Newsom's leadership. Homelessness is rampant. Crime is rampant. Businesses are fleeing. You've got taxpayers. There's a net outflow of small businesses, middle-class people. The tax base is fleeing California. So Newsom's state socialism, it no work. Okay? So he can have all the slick hair that he wants and put on all the glasses, the shades, all that he wants. He can do selfies of his chest, his abs, his rear end, till the cows come home. Okay? It doesn't matter. His state is a joke. Now, rather than concentrating on what Texas is doing or what other people are doing, why don't you start taking care of the problems in your own state? Because, buddy, California now is one of the worst managed, worst governed states in the entire country. It is so bad, people are fleeing California. Instead, he's positioning himself to be the leader of la résistance, the resistance, that he now is the man that's going to bring Trump down. He's going to chop him down to size. And Gavin thinks that this is going to, Newsom obviously thinks this is going to set him up to run in 2028 and win the Democratic presidential nomination. Now, as all of this is taking place, okay, you can't make this up. You want to see what a clown this guy is, Greasy Gavin? To understand where Newsom is coming from, right? Yesterday, he held a press conference downtown Los Angeles, in Little Tokyo. But just before that press conference, President Trump cemented another peace deal, this time between Armenia and Azerbaijan. Well, at that conference, the press conference with the leader of Armenia and the leader of Azerbaijan, this is what Trump said. Okay? This is with the Azerbaijani president right beside him. Roll cut 12A. Mike.
They love this for your wife.
Oh, yeah.
Scarf. Good
Great.
stuff.
Thank you.
Can you put the key in here, whoever's taking it? That's important not to lose that.
Yeah.
Do you have your key?
No.
Okay, good. I had this one for you, but I like that box better.
Yeah.
I had that one for you. You know, you're not allowed to run a so, because everyone, I'm 28 points higher than anyone.
Yeah.
Everybody wants me to run, but
including
that. You know, it's funny. So this drives me crazy. Look, 4 more years. Say no 4 more. So it's sort of cool. Fellas, come on, grab what you want. It's okay.
Grab what you want. Now he's giving him a cap that says Trump 2028 on it. Okay, the president of Azerbaijan. He's clearly trolling the left. He's trolling the media. He's trolling Democrats. I just played you the cut. He's clearly joking around. The leader of Azerbaijan, you can't see his face. Obviously, it's an audio cut. He's smiling. He's actually chuckling. And his aides around him are chuckling. And he's like, hey, I'm up 28 points. They want me to run again. I can't run again, but they want me to run again. Guys, grab as much as you want. It's merchandise. Take it. Have a good time. Pass it around to your friends. So he gives this cap, Trump 2028, clearly as a gag, clearly as a joke, as a way, in a sense, a troll, a prank. Listen to Greasy Gavin. Listen to Gavin Newsom. Oh boy, that gel was coming off his hair as he was sweating like a pig because he got himself so upset. This is the end of our democracy. Trump wants to run for a 3rd term. I need to stop him now. Call Greasy Gavin. Roll cut 12. Mike.
You will not have a country if he rigs this election. You will have a president who will be running for a 3rd term. Mark my word. I wasn't exaggerating when I said that I received in the mail a Trump 2028 hat from one of his biggest supporters. These guys are not screwing around. The rules do not apply to him. The most corrupt president in history. Doesn't believe in free enterprise, crony capitalism. He is wrecking this country, wrecking the economy. He's a lawless president. Wake up, America. Wake up to what's going on.
I love it. He doesn't believe in free enterprise. Yeah, right. Oh, and you do, huh? Hey, you socialist commie, you. But anyway, one of his friends gave me a Trump 2028 hat in the mail. These guys are serious. No, they're trolling you. They're making fun of you. Don't you get it? No? All right. Let me ask all of you. Is Gavin Newsom the leader now of the resistance? Okay. Gavin Newsom now says California is going to go to political war, not just against Texas, but against Trump, the entire Trump administration, and that, yep, great Gavin, Greasy Gavin, he is now the greaser. He is now going to be leading Pritzker, Hochul, Healy, you name it, New Jersey, Washington, Oregon, all the blue states, saying they must redistrict their congressional maps as well, tear them up, add even more Democrat seats to take back power in the 2026 midterm elections. Our democracy is on the line, according to Gavin Newsom. Now, many Republican states, red states, now are saying, and they've told Newsom publicly and privately, you go ahead with this special election on November 4th to further gerrymander, as I said before, what is already one of the most gerrymandered states in the union. You go nuclear, we go nuclear. The only difference is we've got a lot more seats we can redistrict because the Democrats are pretty much gerrymandered out. So, my question to you, What do you make of what Gavin Newsom is now doing? Is he now emerging as the leader against Donald Trump? And are we now on the verge of a gerrymandering war? 617-266-6868 is the number. By the way, many of you are asking, well, Jeff, if it's wrong for California to do it, why is it okay for Texas to do it? Well, just to answer that very quickly, remember, Texas, the U.S. Census regarding Texas was flawed, and the census agreed it was flawed, that they overcounted Democrats and that they overcounted illegal aliens. You shouldn't count any illegals, but they overcounted illegal aliens. And even the Department of Justice came out and said that the Texas map, the Texas political map, the congressional map, was deeply flawed. So that's why Governor Greg Abbott said, look, I'm not going to be a fool. If the census is lying to disadvantage Republicans in Texas, which is a deep red state, and it's a deeply flawed congressional map, I'm going to redistrict it so that it's more fairer in its terms of its representation. So all Texas did was essentially try to rectify a previous mistake. Democrats have been gerrymandering and redistricting going back decades. I mean, they do this for sport and because they love to rig elections and cheat. Here, again, I've used Massachusetts as an example, but think about it. 40% of voters in Massachusetts consistently vote for the Republicans. There's not even one Republican member of Congress. Not even one. It's 9-0 Democrats. There hasn't been a Republican member of Congress. I'm talking the U.S. House. I know Scott Brown was a senator about maybe, 15 years ago. Well, I'm talking about a House member. There hasn't been a Republican House member in, 30 years? So Texas says, you Democrats have been gerrymandering like crazy. We finally start to push back, punch back a little bit, and all of a sudden, democracy's crashing all around us? The sky is falling? Trump is a dictator? Nah, I don't think so. 617-266-6868. Let's go to Jimmy in Dorchester. Thanks for holding, Jimmy. You're going to kick us off, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff.
Hi, Jimmy.
What's his name? To me, he's nothing but a liar and a swindler and a crook. What's his name? The governor. Because you got to hear this, Jeff. 49% of California is Mexican, and how many of them are illegals? Right?
Oh, they have millions. I mean, literally millions and millions and millions of illegal aliens. California should not have 52 seats in the House, in the U.S. House. In fact, if you don't count illegals in the census, California is going to lose at least 10 to 15 seats. I mean, that's how swollen their congressional representation is. And that's why, Jimmy, a lot of people have been saying this for years, and they've been vindicated. One of the major reasons why Democrats allowed open borders is to give them more power and more representation in Congress, because most of the illegals overwhelmingly go to blue states. By the way, Massachusetts, if you eliminate illegals from the U.S. Census, Massachusetts is not going to have 9 congressional seats. Massachusetts would lose about 2 seats. That's just here. New York would lose at least half a dozen, if not 8 to 10 seats. Illinois would definitely lose at least 5 or 6 seats. These would all be Democrat seats. So what Newsom now doesn't understand is he's starting a war, a political war, that if I were the Democrats, I would not start. Because I'm telling you, they can't win. If the Republicans fight back, and Trump is telling them this time you're going to fight back, they're going to get slaughtered. If I were Newsom, I would be very careful what he's doing now. But anyway, look, to me, they've lost their minds. You want my honest opinion, Jimmy? I think they've lost their minds. I think they're desperate. I think they're in a panic. They can't stop Trump. They know that. And now they're just going to try to burn the whole house down. But if they want to start a gerrymandering war, it's a war they can't win, Jimmy. Final word to you. Go ahead, my friend.
Sorry interrupting you, Jeff, but listen to this. This is while he had his speech and he was ranking Trump, right? You're not going to believe they had raids, FBI and CIA and ICE in L.A., in a special area in L.A. where there's streetwalkers, the illegal girls, 14 years old, a madame in L.A., and it's known to Newsom. He knows about this. She's been branding the girls with her name on their backs like you brand a cow, that's her property. You know what she's done to these young girls? If they don't produce on the street, they take their body parts and they're selling them to the Mexicans across the border. And if they don't produce, they kill these young girls, 14, 15, 16, that are walking the streets of L.A., and Newsom knows about that.
Jimmy, I wish it wasn't true, but it is. Everything what you said is not 100. It's 1,000% true. And that shows you, again, just what a loser and what a clown this guy Gavin Newsom is. I like to call him Greasy Gavin because that gets under his skin. But look, Jimmy, thank you very much for that call. So this is another aspect of yesterday's clown show. So not only is this guy going on about, democracy's coming to an end, they're serious? Well, why are they serious? Somebody just sent me a Trump 2028 baseball cap. He's going to run for a third term. All right, just what an idiot he is. But he's doing this big presser yesterday, announcing this special election. They're going to gerrymander California, the whole bit. And he's doing it in Little Tokyo, actually right next to the Japanese American National Museum. Well, guess what? Right practically next to him. I mean, what is it? 100 feet away. There are ICE agents, Customs and Border Patrol agents, who are about 100 of them, who are launching raids, exactly what Jimmy's talking about. Prostitution, sex trafficking, human trafficking. The Mexican drug cartels are sending in girls 14, 15 years old, 14 years old, 16 years old, and have them, quote unquote, work the streets. And this is all happening under the nose of Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom. And the mayor of L.A., Karen Bass, she goes apoplectic. It's not the drug cartels that are provocative. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, so, by the way, they hold ICE raids in Los Angeles, in all areas of Los Angeles, every single day. Because literally, that's how many illegals there are. And so, Department of Homeland Security came out and said, no, we didn't do it in Little Tokyo yesterday, just because Gavin Newsom was holding his little dinky press conference. Little Tokyo is so overrun with the Mexican drug cartels, with sex traffickers, with prostitution, and as we talked about in the last segment, 14, 15, 16-year-old girls, illegals, trafficked into the United States, pimped out, and told that they've got to, earn their quota, as they say. So, ICE was there, Customs and Border Protection were there, and of course, they were rounding up hundreds and hundreds of criminal illegal aliens. What was Greasy Gavin's response? What was Gavin Newsom's response? Listen to this. Roll cut 11. A mic.
Well, I think it's pretty sick and pathetic. And it just said everything you need to know, the setting that we're under. That they chose the time, manner, and place to send their district director outside right when we're about to have this press conference. It said everything you know about Donald Trump's America. And that was top down. You know that for a fact. They'll deny it, I'm sure. Maybe they won't deny it. It said everything you know about the authoritarian tendencies of the President of the United States. I said in a moment ago, wake up, America. Wake up.
So what? Law enforcement doing their job and deporting criminal illegals? That's the dictatorship now. That's authoritarianism. That's sick. It's pathetic. You mean it's not sick and pathetic for you to allow millions and millions of illegals, including, by the way, gangbangers, human traffickers, murderers, rapists, drug dealers, prostitutes, underage girls, to be brought into your state, into California? And that's okay? No, that's not sick and pathetic, but trying to clean up the mess that you've made and get rid of these illegals and get rid of these criminals. It's sick and pathetic. It's a dictatorship. Keep going with that dictator line. Keep going. Because the world is looking at you and they're laughing. To all the Democrats out there, the world is looking at you and they're laughing. Americans are laughing. You come across as utterly deranged, unhinged, and demented. Honestly, the guy sounds like a madman. And you're the governor of the biggest state in the country? Ay, ay, ay. If Greasy Gavin, okay? If Greaseball Gavin, if Mr. Hair Gel is all that they have in terms of 2028, I'm telling you right now, J.D. Vance is going to win in a landslide. If this is the best that they have, if this is their leader of the resistance, la resistance, if this is the best that they have, J.D., get ready, my friend, because the Oval Office is waiting for you. 617-266-6868 is the number. Lou in Rhode Island. Thanks for holding, Lou, and welcome.
Yeah, how you doing, Jeff? Rush Limbaugh used to use theme songs for certain characters in politics. I think the theme song from Grease would fit Gavin Newsom perfectly.
Mike, can you get the theme song from Grease? Please, Mike.
Frankie Valli.
Yeah, Frankie Valli.
Right.
Yeah, but keep going. Mike will get it. I love it. By the way, I love that suggestion, Lou. Love it, love it, love it. Lou, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Is Newsom now emerging as the leader of the so-called anti-Trump Democrat resistance, or is he really now coming across as an absolute political clown?
As Clint Eastwood used to say, he's a legend in his own mind. I mean, he's the guy is a clown. I mean, the fact that they would even allow this kind of this is like even worse than Epstein, that these public officials would allow this kind of marketing of these little girls and throughout California. It's probably not just in where he was yesterday, but throughout the whole state, and all this criminal activity in the cartels. Somebody must be on the take there too. I have to, just as a guess, somebody must be on the take. But the thing is that he's a clown. The whole party is a clown between Mondani and him and AOC. I mean, the whole thing is just a clown show. I mean, I emailed you a little chart showing the Republican representation in these various blue states. I mean, look at even up there, New Hampshire, 46%, 48% Republican, 0 seats. Maine, they have like over 40% Republican, 0 seats. California, New York, 43%. Illinois, 43%. New Jersey, has like something like 46%. No representation whatsoever, or very little representation. Maybe they have 1 or 2 seats in those places. And so you're right. The Democrats have been doing this for years and getting away from it. And now, thank goodness. Now, I have to say this is somewhat related. Thank goodness for Donald Trump. Because I'm looking at news from Europe, and you see England, and you see Ireland, and even in Australia, the migrants are basically taking over, and even the parties like the Reform Party are like caving into them. I mean, they don't have any kind of leadership like we do, and thank God we have Donald Trump here holding the line on this and going against this. So I'm really happy that he's doing this and pushing for it. We also need to have. We also need to pass a bill where citizens only can vote, because California, like many of these other states, are no voter ID states. All these, and Victor Davis Hanson pointed this out. There's been over 10 million illegals coming into California. 10 million. Then you were talking about how many seats they would lose. Yeah, at least enough for 10 million people, which is more than about 10 seats easily, and it's probably more than 10 million. And they vote. They probably vote in the elections, and they pad the numbers. It's ridiculous, and we got to get rid of that and have the only citizens vote. And the other thing I was going to bring up today too is that there are a lot of counties in California that want to secede from California. And this has been happening in Oregon, and I think it's also happened in Colorado. There's these secession movements that want to take all the red counties and all the red districts and make a new state out of it. And then on top of that, you've got Alberta in Canada that wants to secede from Canada. I think we would welcome Alberta in, don't you think? And it's ridiculous how the Democrats are saying they're preserving democracy. What they're trying to do is twist democracy. It's just like they used to do in those old communist countries. They used to call themselves republics and democracies, but it was one person, one vote, one time. They're the ones who want to set up a dictatorship, not Donald Trump. Donald Trump is actually the one who's trying to really save democracy for the real citizens of the United States.
Well, you touched on a lot of very good points, Lou. Look, let me just say this about California, okay? California now is the epicenter of the resistance to Trump. I know Hochul's hitting him hard, obviously here in Massachusetts, your neck of the woods, Rhode Island, Pritzker now in Illinois, but because of its size, its economic clout, the fact that Hollywood is there, there's, many reasons. California now, I mean, look, their last presidential nominee was Kamala Harris from California. So you can see California has a lot of weight in the Democratic Party. So you're right. You take away the illegals from the census. California doesn't have 52 seats. California has more like 36, 38 seats. Now, that's a loss of 14, 15, 16 seats. Everybody stand back for a second. Imagine if you take away 16 seats from the Democrats, what is it? The Republicans have a +3 majority in the House, right? My Speaker Mike Johnson has, 2 plus 2 plus 3. It's a razor's edge. That would be 16 extra seats for Republicans. That's a +20 majority. You know what a +20 majority would mean? Donald Trump could get anything he wants. Pass through the House and then pass through the Senate. Now, that's just California. Never mind, look at these other big states like New York and Illinois. I could go on and on. So they have so rigged it politically. And look at their answer now. Just, again, stand back objectively. What is he really saying? You get beyond all the smoke and the heated political rhetoric. We're going to match Texas, and we're going to do a special election, and we're going to tear up our congressional map, and we're going to gerrymander it even more. So, what? Texas wants to add 5. We're going to add 9. In other words, wipe out all Republican seats. What he's really saying is we're going to disenfranchise Republicans. What he's saying is you won't even get one freaking seat. Out of 52, you won't get one, even though at least 40% of the state votes Republican on a consistent basis. So this is how they've been cheating and cheating and cheating and cheating. And I'm going to be brutally honest with you, Lou, like I'm in the confessional. Look, I understood the argument before. I did. Well, they're letting a lot of illegals come in because that bolsters the numbers in the census, which then gives them more congressional seats in Congress, right, in the House of Representatives. So it artificially inflates Democrats' political power. Yeah, I got it, of course. To me, I always said, but they're letting him in really for the illegals to vote. No. I mean, yes, they're bringing him in for them to vote. But you can clearly see for the Democrats, it was almost as important. It's almost as if, look, even if they don't vote, just bring them in. We still gain 25 to 30 seats extra because the illegals are counted in the census. So we get seats apportioned to us that we're not entitled to. So you can tell it was a deliberate, premeditated strategy going back decade after decade after decade. And Joe Biden, all he did was he just took it to its logical culmination, to its most extreme end. Just open the border just completely. Just let everybody come in. You know, unleash the floodgates. And he kept lying to us, and the media lied to us. When people like you, people like me kept saying, hey, you can shut down the border anytime you want. What did he keep saying? I need legislation. No, I need an amnesty bill. Only with a bill in Congress. Only then can we seal the border. No, we got to give amnesty to the dreamers. We've got to give them a pathway to citizenship. Blah, 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 blah. Do you remember that? And it turns out, no, Donald Trump did it. Didn't pass a bill in Congress. No, it was just a question of will. Do you want to close the border? They never wanted a secure border. They deliberately allowed this to happen. Now, this is to me the part that I can't take. This is the part, as Nikita Khrushchev famously said, this is the bone in my throat. I can't swallow it. I understand political cheating. Of course, I don't condone it. I think it's disgusting. But, okay, I get it. You want to win. You stuff ballot boxes. You know, the Chicago way. You vote early, vote often. I get that. But that you allowed criminals to come into our country? That you would be willing, for the sake of political power, to allow drug dealers, fentanyl, the Mexican drug cartels, literally murderers, rapists, child molesters, that you would put our safety and security in mortal danger. And how many Americans have lost their lives? How many Lake and Rileys are there? How many Joycelyn Nungares are there? And you allowed it to happen? You allowed our women to be raped and then murdered? Our young girls to literally be gang raped and then their bodies dismembered? To have us shot dead in our own streets? To have our young people dying of overdose after overdose? 100,000 a year? A year. We lost 58,000 in Vietnam throughout the entire war. And we're losing that in half a year to fentanyl. But because of your lust for power, you would deliberately allow that to happen? I'm sorry. That's treason. That's treason. And God is my witness. What I will never forgive the Republican Party for. And I don't know what it is about Jim Jordan, but Jim Jordan gets under my skin because he's got the biggest mouth. You know, he reminds me of these guys I used to go to school with. Oh, my God. I mean, they were the toughest guys. They're going to take on this guy. They're going to take on that guy. And they're the biggest cowards and chickens when you need them to do something. That's Jim Jordan. When I had Jim Jordan on this show multiple times, and I said, what does Joe Biden have to do to get impeached? I don't care whether you convict him or not in the Senate, but let the historical record stand. He was impeached over the border, over aiding and abetting and unleashing an invasion of our country, a betrayal of our country. He was a traitor to our country. No, we're not going to impeach Joe Biden. No. I said, well, how about Mayorkas? Can you guys at least get Mayorkas? No. So you're not impeaching anybody? No. So, I'm sorry, what good are you to me? I know you roll up your sleeves and you bang the table and you're in front of the camera and you yell and scream for 2 minutes, but you never do anything, buddy. You're useless. That's what I will never forgive the Republicans for. The Democrats, to give the devil their due, they impeach over nothing. They impeached Trump not once but twice, literally over nothing. He was an innocent man. They fabricated a crime to impeach him on. This guy, Biden, was guilty as Benedict Arnold. Okay, guilty as sin, as they say. And these cowards couldn't muster the patriotism, the courage, frankly, the decency to impeach them for the crimes that they committed against all of us. And I'll tell you this, I get emails all the time. It's hard to read these emails. Jeff, I lost my beautiful daughter. She went to a party. She was a good girl. She just graduated high school. Her and her friends were throwing a party. She went. She was dancing. They had a good time. She was feeling tired. It was about noon, whatever, midnight, 12:30, almost 1 o'clock. She's not up, used to going up that late. She said, I'm going to go home. They said, don't do that. Come on, here, take this. It's a little something that'll give you a boost. We can keep dancing. She didn't know it was laced with fentanyl. My daughter, after 10, 15 minutes, sat on the couch, said, I'm a little tired. And they all thought she fell asleep. In the end, she died. Right there on the couch. They couldn't wake her up. They couldn't save her. It was too late. Okay? What was she? 17, 18 years old? Dead. Dead. Innocent, good, decent girl. I said that affectionately, young woman. Had her whole life in front of her. Went to a party with her friends at their house, celebrating graduation. Tired. They say, here's a little pill, a little upper. You should never take these kind of pills. But she thought, okay, it'll give me an energy boost. And I'll just dance till 2, 3, 4 in the morning because we're celebrating. And instead, laced with fentanyl, bang, she's dead. You know where that fentanyl came from? Right through the southern border. You know who made it? China. You know who sold it? It was the Mexican drug cartels. All of it done with the full blessing and support of the Democratic Party. I don't know what else to say. And what I don't get is, why am I getting upset over this? I mean, of course, I'm a human being. I'm an American. But, I see this. I get outraged. I'm not in a position of power. I can't do anything to stop it. Where's Jim Jordan? Where's Mike Johnson? Where's John Thune? Again, it's only Trump. Now it's only Tom Homan. It's only Kristi Noem. I mean, are you an American or are you not an American? Do you have a conscience or do you not have a conscience? So, no, I'm sorry. I will never forgive the Republicans for the fact that they never impeached Joe Biden. And now they're all doing this auto pen stuff, investigation, and which I'm telling you, nothing is going to come of it, even though we all know Biden was gone, was mentally a vegetable. And what they did was clearly criminal in using that auto pen. You're doing it now. I don't need it now. I needed you guys to do it then. But you were quiet then. Now, after the fact, you bang the gavel, you hold hearings, you act all outraged. But still, nobody goes to jail. So no, I'm tired of the kabuki theater. Honestly, I'm tired of the games, the dog and pony show. And that's why I'm with Trump. I want a MAGA party. I want a serious opposition. I want a serious party. I want a party now that is there to win and is there to go in the gutter and beat the Democrats at their own game. They play smash mouth football. We play better smash mouth football. They hit us. We hit them twice as hard. They gerrymander. We out gerrymander them. They arrest our people. We arrest 10 of theirs. I'm with Trump all the way. I'm tired of losing. Because when we lose, the country loses. When the Democrats lose, power loses. That's all. That's all. The billionaires, the globalists, the donors, the donor class. Don't worry. Those people, they'll always be taking care of themselves. But when we lose, America loses. Now, if the boys that stormed the beaches of Normandy were able to give it their all for us, when our veterans, and I love every one of them, that's for you, Gavin. Greasy Gavin Newsom. By the way, it's funny, but I remember, what was I, 10 years old, maybe? Something like that, when Grease came out with John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John. And by the way, the male characters in that movie, man, did they load on the hair gel. I mean, they could give Newsom a run for his money. You know, the John Travolta character, that was like a pound of grease on that head. But anyway, I enjoyed the movie, obviously, like many people did. I was like 10, 11, whatever age I was. But then I ended up re-seeing it many, many, many years later. Holy mackerel, was there a lot of sexual innuendo, which, of course, as a 10-year-old, just went right over my head, But I remember I was rewatching it, like maybe, 20 years ago or whatever. And I'm like, whoa, how come I missed all of this? One sexual reference after another, after another, after another. But anyway, still, honestly, great movie. I don't care for musicals. No, I didn't. No, Mike asked that I follow suit, that I start putting grease in my hair. No, it was never my thing, Mike. Yeah, I was starting to lose hair already, even at 10, Mike. So, no, I'm not a hair gel kind of guy. Never have been. 617-266-6868 is the number. Look, the only good quality that Gavin Newsom has, okay, that Greasy Gavin has, great hair. I'll give him that. He was born with a great set of roots. Those roots, man, I would kill to have those roots. But that's it. That's all he has. That's it. 617-266-6868 is the number. Bill in Medfield. Thanks for holding, Bill, and welcome.
How's it going, Rush Kuner?
That's a very high compliment. Thank you, Bill. Bill, what do you make of Gavin Newsom? He says he's going to bring down Trump. That's it. His presidency is over, and Gavin is the man that's going to bury him. What do you say, my friend?
First off, I only have 4 hairs, so that's number one. And then, you say that the Trump administration's listening to the show all the time?
His people do, definitely, yes.
I'm going to speak for 1 second and then tell what I called for. Okay, it's William K. Vieira. Lived here all my life and not getting my Social Security. I was born November 8, 1957. I worked and lived here all my life in Massachusetts. So, hello, Trump. Can I get my Social Security without paying thousands of dollars? Okay, now I'll go back to what I called for. Is this going to be taken to the Supreme Court? And they're going to have nobody in all blue states is going to be represented in the Republican Party. It's going to be zero across all the United States. What is the Supreme Court going to do about that?
They're going to shoot it down. And it's a great question, Bill. I'm telling you, this will go to the Supreme Court, and Newsom is going to get destroyed, and so will the Democrats. This is not going to pass constitutional muster. No way. Even John Roberts is going to vote against it. It's going to be minimum 6-3, maybe even 7-2, 8-1 at the Supreme Court. I mean, this is dangerous. All kidding aside, I mean, I'm trying to make fun of the guy because he really is a bit of a clown. But in all seriousness, Bill, look, you've got a massive state like California. What is it, 40 million people? That's bigger than most countries in the world. And a good, 40% of the population votes for the opposing political party, the Republicans. And they're not even going to get one seat. Massachusetts, no seats. New Hampshire, no seats. Maine, no seats. Connecticut, no seats. Vermont, no seats. New Mexico, no seats. Washington State, Oregon, no seats. And Pritzker now, remember, they got, 46% voted Republican in Illinois. And Pritzker now says we're going to gerrymander again. Now, they have 17 seats in Congress, in the House. 14 Democrat, 3 Republican. I don't know how they're going to do it, but Pritzker says we're going to go to 0 for Republicans. So what is this? So if a Democrat controls the state, Republicans don't, why bother voting? I mean, you're disenfranchising Republican voters. So now, Bill, it's sort of like they get 15%, 16, 14, 17% of the apportionment of the seats, even though they get 45, 46, 48% of the vote. But now it's going to be you get 46, 47, 48% of the vote, and you get 0 seats, 0%. So it's going to get to the point where Republicans are going to say, well, why should we even bother voting? Who cares? We can vote and vote and vote. We'll never get a freaking seat. The Supreme Court will, trust me, and should shoot it down. Bill, final word to you.
Now we need for you to have a massive rally for all of New England, have it in New Hampshire, because you can't have anything in Massachusetts, where all the Republicans show up for saying, taxation without representation rally. There's your chance now for a massive rally where there's millions of people there.
Oh, you're dead on. I'm telling you, no, Bill, you're dead on. Bill, please don't be a stranger. Call again. Look, the fundamental principle that we fought the American Revolution over, Bill is completely right, 1,000% correct. Hell, on this one, 1,000,000% correct. It's no taxation without representation. And by the way, this principle has inspired billions of people around the world since 1776. I'm talking literally dozens and dozens and dozens of countries around the world. That fundamental principle that we fought for in this country. If you're going to tax us, then we need to have representation. The voters need to have their voices, their interests, their values represented, defended, and voiced. Okay? Articulated. What are they doing now? This is taxation without representation. As I said, I'll just use Massachusetts as an example. 40% of the electorate, and we all pay taxes. Okay, the Republican voters in this state were the backbone. Just so that people understand. We're the working middle class, small business owners, truck drivers, nurses. I mean, that's police, fire department. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, we are now on the very brink of a gerrymandering war in this country. Gavin Newsom yesterday really had a clown show of a press conference, but still, he did make the announcement. There will be a special election held in California on November 4th. It's a Democrat state, so it's pretty much going to pass, whereby, according to Gavin Newsom, they will then redistrict, really tear apart California's political map, its congressional map. It's already heavily gerrymandered. They're going to gerrymander it even more. Out of 52 seats that California has in the U.S. House of Representatives, only 9 are apportioned to Republicans. That will now go to 0. And Newsom says that along with this, and he wants Illinois, Massachusetts, New York, New Jersey, Oregon, Washington to follow California's lead, that they are going to gerrymander and gerrymander to the point that the Republicans will not be able to hold on to the House in next year's midterm elections, which means the Democrats will take back control, and according to Newsom, they will impeach. What will they impeach him on? It doesn't matter. They're going to impeach. They will defund. They will investigate. As Newsom put it, Trump's presidency comes to an end. Republicans now have said, you gerrymander, we gerrymander. And we have a lot more states and a lot more seats that we can gerrymander than you can. So essentially, as the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, I could go on and on. This is not a unique observation on my part. We are now on the cusp of a political civil war. 617-266-6868. Should the Republicans now go all in on gerrymandering to counter California? I say yes. What say you? Bill in Sudbury. Thanks for holding, Bill. And as always, welcome.
Hello. Good morning, Jeff. Good morning.
Bill.
I don't think this is a good idea at all. To me, it sounds like some sort of weird political participation trophy that even if you lost, you have to get something. I don't like the idea of gerrymandering, but both sides do it, and it's brutal. And the numbers for California, oh my God, the L.A. County, just L.A. County is bigger than 40 states. So the numbers, when he starts talking about the numbers, it's tricky for him. I think what you're looking at is the 3-year political campaign, though. I think that because Trump won with his 3-year campaign, that now the 3-year campaign will be a constant. We'll always be campaigning for president.
So you see this as primarily political on the part of Gavin Newsom, correct?
Yes, I see this as sort of positioning, early positioning to be the one, to be the point of the spear, to be the one making the argument, framing the argument. And you give the people in Texas a total pass. You hate the idea of gerrymandering California, but you give the president calling the people in Texas and saying, I want 5 seats. He gets a complete pass for that.
Well, Bill, you know as well as I do. I mean, come on. I mean, this is one of your best calls, I'll be honest with you, because you're being honest. So come on, let's be honest. California is one of the most heavily gerrymandered states in the country. Illinois is very gerrymandered. Massachusetts is completely gerrymandered. So Texas does something to offset what the Democrats do, and Gavin Newsom is having a meltdown. Democrats are having a meltdown. And you know as well as I do, Bill, that the census was flawed. The department, it's admitted. The census came out and said, no, we overrepresented the number of illegals in Texas. So the numbers are inflated. So that's what triggered Governor Abbott. And on top of that, the Department of Justice itself came out and said that the census was flawed. So that's why Abbott said, okay, we're going to base it now on the recent election and on a much fairer census. And even then, Democrats are still going to have, 8 seats in Texas? So it's not as if they're being gerrymandered to 0. You've got California, Illinois, here in Mass. I mentioned all the states, New Hampshire. You've got Maine, Vermont, Connecticut. I could go on and on. New Mexico. Many of these states, 46, 47, 48% vote Republican. They get 0 seats. That's not fair.
So what you're saying is because it's terrible in California, we should make it terrible in Texas to balance it out. It's just not a very good argument.
No, it's a great argument. It's an argument that's winning.
No, because it's a drive to the
what you're
bottom.
telling me is this. No, what you're telling me is Democrats can be dirty. Democrats can rig elections. Democrats can overload inflate their representation. Look, remember, you take away gerrymandering, literally the Democrats lose at least 30 congressional seats. 30. So the Republicans don't have a +3 majority. They have a +33 majority. Because whether you like to admit it or not, Bill, the Democratic Party is now a minority party. Look at the map of 2024. Look at all of those counties in the middle of the country. It is an ocean of red. All you see are little spots of blue in these coastal cities. That's it. So the Democratic Party is a minority party. And I'm going to be frank with you. And I'm being serious. I blame people like you. I do. Because people like you who are hardcore Democrat voters never stood up to your party and said, you're going too far. The radical open borders, the invasion of illegals in our country, having men, biological men, participate in women's sports, the way you guys decimated the middle class with skyrocketing inflation, the debacle and disaster in Afghanistan, the exploding crime rates in city after city after city, where Democrats coddle criminals, literally coddle gangbangers, coddle murderers and rapists. What'd you think was going to happen? You think the American people were going to keep voting for the Democratic Party? So you have to gerrymander in order to even stay competitive. And now that Texas is saying, no, you guys want to rig? You want to play? This is your term, not mine. Smash mouth football. Yeah, we play smash mouth football. Okay. Texas is now playing smash mouth football. So I'm sorry. Every blue state can gerrymander, but when one Republican red state does it, suddenly it's the end of the world? I don't think so. So, Bill, I'm sorry. Look, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Go back to FDR. Go back to Truman. Go back to John F. Kennedy. Hell, go back to Bill Clinton. Be a working middle class party again that at least pretends to care about America. And you'll be competitive. But you've been hijacked by the radical left. It's now Elizabeth Warren's party. It's now Jasmine Crockett's party. It's now AOC's party. Look what your party is about to vote for in New York City. A full-fledged communist, Zoran Mamdani. Bill, you have no one to blame but yourself.
Apple literally giving the president a chunk of gold in return for favorable tariffs. Did you not notice that? Because you seem to have totally skipped over that.
Bill, please, Bill, look, come on, let's stay focused, okay? Please, I know you have Trump derangement syndrome. Every time I talk to a Democrat, the way you guys hate Donald Trump, it's pathological. I'm asking you about your party going way too far to the left, which is why your party is no longer competitive. You know, I got to ask you, Bill, how come never during the Biden presidency, ever, Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer, 617-266-6868 is the number. You know, Mike and I were just talking off air, and Mike said, Jeff, I couldn't believe my ears. For about the first 30 seconds of Bill's call, Bill in Sudbury, he was making sense. And I said to Mike, Mike, I swear to you, I'm like, this is a miracle. As he's talking, I'm like, this is a miracle. This could be the first time Bill calls. Forget that we're in agreement, but he's actually making a clear, coherent, lucid point. And then he just couldn't help himself. Then he just went off the deep end. He couldn't do it. He just couldn't do it. But, no, look, you see, notice. Gerrymandering for me, but not for thee. Yeah, it's bad, but, and we do it all the time, we do it all day, all night, but you guys shouldn't do it. We do it, but you guys shouldn't do it. Nah, I don't think so. 617-266-6868. Dan in New Hampshire. Thanks for holding, Dan, and welcome. Dan, are you there? Okay, let's see if we can reconnect with Dan. Let's go to Annie on the South Shore. Thanks for holding, Annie, and welcome.
Hi, Jeff. Good morning to you
Hi.
and Kuner Nation. I don't know what we would do without you.
Thank you,
Now,
Annie.
I'm going to start you off with this. The other day I tried to get through because we were talking about, people running and what have you, and running against Elizabeth Warren and what have you. And I was going to call up and tell you, Jeff, I'll run if you'll be my manager.
Oh, I remember that.
You see my manager? I think it would be awesome. I think we'd have a lot of people tuning in. I really do.
Annie, I've got to ask you, what do you make now? Now it's a political declaration of war. Gavin Newsom and the Democrats, they are going to gerrymander California to the point that they're going to eliminate every single Republican seat in the U.S. House of Representatives, in Congress. They have 52 seats. They want it to be 52 Democrats, 0 Republicans. Currently, there are 9 Republican members of the House, in the U.S. House. They're going to gerrymander all of them out. So even though 40% of the people of California vote Republican on a regular basis, they're going to have 0, literally 0 Republicans in Congress. To me, that's disenfranchising voters. That to me is taxation without representation, a fundamental violation of the very principle our country was built on, founded on. But that's me. I want to hear from you, Annie.
Wholeheartedly. I truly do. But, this isn't anything new. This is something that they've been doing years and years and years and years, and we've gotten to this point. Look at it this way. You have a bully, which I look at the Democratic Party as being. They've gotten their way for so many years that now that they're having somebody push them back, they don't like it. Take a look at Newsom. He's one of the biggest bullies going, and he's talking about President Trump. Let me tell you something. 74 million or more voted for President Trump. And if he thinks we're going to sit back and do nothing about this is the issue that I'm calling for, Jeff. I, as a United States citizen, I, as a citizen of the state of Massachusetts who pay taxes, my electric bill is out of sight. We can't afford much of anything. We're being drowned. You know why? Because we have a governor who is stealing from us. That's what she's doing. She is stealing from us. She's representing the illegals, and she's throwing us to the side. That is called treason. Many times throughout your conversations, I have heard the word treason, but nothing is being done about it. I, as a citizen of this country, when it comes time to vote, I want ICE agents at every single voting area. That's what I want.
Annie, I'm going to ask you a very personal question. And if you don't want to answer, I understand. I promise I will not take offense. But I have to ask you this. And just to set it up for you, we received our latest energy bill. Okay. 1st of August, whatever, early August is when we get it. Another massive price increase. Every 6 months under Healy, because they passed a law, she wants to eventually phase out fossil fuels completely from the state and get us more and more hooked onto solar energy, wind energy, the so-called alternatives. Well, that means is the prices keep going up, and they're going to keep going up. Every 6 months, your energy bill doesn't matter. You can use the same amount of energy. It's not a question of how much you use. No matter how much you use, it's going to keep going up and up by hundreds and hundreds of dollars every 6 months. Now, it's deliberate. It's deliberate. And that's why they won't allow any new oil pipelines. They won't allow more fossil fuel or more energy. They want to get us strictly on wind and solar. And that is driving up the costs. My last energy bill was pathetic. It was so outrageously expensive. I'm like, I don't know how we can continue to pay for this. And I'm getting friends who are texting me, through the camera, they take a picture of their bill and they're texting me. It's all, August 1st. And they're like, Jeff, it just went up another $300. Jeff, it just went up another $400. And so, and they're saying, and you look at what you pay, and then notice the delivery costs. The delivery cost, I've never heard of this. The delivery cost is higher than what you're actually paying. So I've got to ask you, Annie, how much was your energy bill? How much did it go up by, the most recent one? If you want to divulge that.
Okay, Jeff. Last month it was around $400. This month it's about $746, and the energy cost to bring it in, the fuel, the use of their fuel to bring it in is 3 times more than what I use. It is highway robbery. This is treason, Jeff.
Annie, do me a favor. You're completely right. Please, just say the numbers again. So the previous month it was $400. You're saying now it's what, $700?
$146 and change.
$740, so an increase of almost $350, $346, whatever. And then how much you pay for the actual energy, and how much do you pay for the delivery costs? You said it was more than what you actually pay.
Oh, yeah, the delivery cost is about 3 times more than what we use for energy. It's ridiculous. As a matter of fact, I'm glad you mentioned this, Jeff, because I was just looking in the town that's closest to me, and one person just said their electric bill was $1,000 for the month.
Oh, no, I'm getting that now. No, I'm getting people are $1,000, $1,200, $1,500, $2,000. I'm like, these people are crazy. Like, they're crazy, man. Now, the reason why, Annie, I want you to hear this, okay? Because this is why the Democrats, if there's a free and fair election, can never win. This is why. This issue alone, the Republicans are going to break the Democrats. So, please, Annie, I want you to hear this. I want the whole audience. And it doesn't matter where you live, because this is the model for New York, for Connecticut, for Rhode Island, for New Hampshire, for Vermont, for California, for Illinois. This is what the Democrats want for the whole country. They're doing it in their states, but this is for the whole country. And this is what they've done in Europe. This is what I'm explaining to you now. What we're suffering, that's Germany, that's England, that's massive costs of energy because they want everybody on wind and solar. That is literally hollowing out the middle class. Okay? Now, this is a clip that is now going viral. I mentioned it on my X account maybe about a week ago. It got a tremendous response. This is the energy secretary here in Massachusetts. Her name is Rebecca Tepper. Tepper. She is speaking in front of a group of supporters, and you can see the video. Please, you look it up. Don't take my word for it. Maura Healey, the governor, is maybe 2 feet away from her, staring right at Rebecca Tepper. Now, this is her energy secretary. You want to see how dangerously out of touch the Democrats are in this state? How insultingly, contemptibly they're out of touch? Listen to this. Annie, if I told you, you wouldn't believe it. This is the energy secretary, along with Healey, that's driving our energy costs sky high. Roll cut 22, Mike.
Pipelines are, the issue that we have in New England is that there are, for a few days of the year, prices are high, maybe 7 days. You don't build a gigantic pipeline for 7 days a year.
For 7 days a year, according to her, and Maura Healey is nodding her head in agreement. Right beside her. You have to see the video, please. Like, yep. Like, I don't know what Jeff Kuhner's problem is. Complaining about his energy bills. What's his problem? What's Annie's problem? What's all of you listening? What's your problem? Because for 358 days of the year, the prices are low. It's only maybe 7 days a year that prices are high. So why do we need 2 new oil pipelines? No. We don't need to take the cost of energy lower. It's only 7 days a year. Annie, are your energy costs high only 7 days a year? Or are they high every day the entire year.
Oh, my gosh. To educate her 365 days in the year. That's how high they are with me. But, Jeff, before I get off of here, I got to tell you this. Thought came to my mind, and the thought is this. If the energy prices keep going up and everything else keeps going up, we're not going to be able to afford to live here. So people are going to vacate. The banks aren't going to want to take back your houses. Well, hello, illegals. Come on in. You got a new home.
You nailed it. Oh, my, you're a genius. Annie, please don't get me wrong. I only have eyes for my wife, but I love you in a non-sexual way, my friend. You hit the nail right on the head. They want to drive energy costs right through the roof, break the back of the middle class. Nobody's going to be able to afford it. They're going to have to give up their homes or the places they live, and people are going to leave. And you know who takes over the homes? You guessed it. The illegals. There you go. They're no longer in the motels and hotels. They're no longer in the supposed emergency shelter system. No. Hey, Kuner man just left. Couldn't pay anything. With bank foreclosed on his house. Bring in the illegals. 8 o'clock. Actually, it's 8:02. 8-ish Friday, you know what that means. Kuner's call log, caller of the week.
It's time for Kuner's call log, where we showcase our favorite caller from the week.
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Thanks for holding, Michael.
I'm originally from New Hampshire. I got educated up in New England and retired down here in Florida, where I got a medical marijuana card. And, I experimented with marijuana my whole life, basically, from boarding school on, thanks to the Grateful Dead. And what I learned as soon as I graduated and had to pay my own bills was there's a time and a place to do it. If I get home at 7:30 at night, I'm happy to smoke a bong. But at 6 o'clock in the morning, I have to be out the door and I have to perform. And what I do behind closed doors is like music, religion, and sex. What I do on my own time belongs to me. If I owe a company 10 hours a day, that's what they should be teaching. As I told my 15-year-old daughter at the time, she got caught, using cannabis, and I had to have that parent-to-child conversation that some of us have to have. Look, it's going to make math really hard for you. If you're at a party on a Saturday night, that's one thing, but if you're stoned at school, it's going to make algebra really, really tough. I'm here to tell you by experience, because I got stoned and went to algebra class or accounting 101, and it was a dumpster fire. And then, if you're sober and your head's clean, that's how I graduated.
And next week, it could be you on Kuner's call log.
Please, don't be a stranger. Call again. Mike, I got to tell you, that's one of your best Kuner call logs. It really. Mike, you're having a lot of fun back there, which is nice to see, buddy. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay. Look, just super quick. Please just indulge the Kuner man one more minute. I want to go back to the phone lines. But let me just play it again, please. This is the Massachusetts Secretary of Energy. Again, the name, because you probably never heard of her, Rebecca Tepper. Tepper. And she's talking to her, in front of Healy supporters. The Hold It Healy is, when I say 2 feet, if not maybe a foot beside her. So she's talking, and the whole time she's talking, Healy's like nodding her head up and down. Oh yeah, like I agree. Oh yeah. So here it is. This is the line of bull, I can't say it, Bravo Sierra. This is the line of BS, okay, the bull crap that they're now trying to spread. Okay, this is what they're trying to convince us of. It's all in our imagination. It's all in our head. No, you think you're paying high energy prices. No, it's only 7 days of the year. Roll cut 22. A Mike.
Pipelines are, the issue that we have in New England is that there are, for a few days of the year, prices are high. Maybe 7 days. You don't build a gigantic pipeline for 7 days a year.
I mean, either, look, it's door one or door two. Either this woman is such a pathological, incorrigible liar. I mean, this is like, the whopper of all whoppers. Go. You gotta go. Resign. You gotta go. Okay? Or what I really think it is door two. That she's that out of touch. That she is so disconnected from the reality of everyday life, of everyday working middle class people, working class people, the taxpayers of this state, that she is clueless about how much we're paying in energy costs and in our energy bills month after month after month. Now, I'm telling you, she should resign on the spot. This is such an insulting comment. We only have high energy costs 7 days a year? So for the other 358 days of the year, you're telling us that we pay reasonable low energy prices or energy costs for our energy bills? You're an idiot. You're an idiot. I'm sorry. You're a moron. You're an imbecile. No, we pay high energy costs 7 days a week, every week, 52 weeks a year, 365 days a year. And this is how disconnected Maura Healey and her team are. That this is the line of BS that they're now peddling. Now, I'm telling you, if there was any integrity to the Republican Party, if they had 2 brain cells running that operation, okay, if they had literally half a brain, how do you not beat Healey on this issue alone? Just simply have her go, and she's going to repeat it. You go and you say, she's claiming your energy costs are only high 7 days of the whole year. I say your energy costs are high every day of the year, and I'm going to dramatically lower them. We're going to build pipelines. We're going to stop with the solar panels and the wind. If you want to have it, that's up to you. But we're going to stop subsidizing this. We're not going to start keep forcing people, because the problem with wind and solar is that they are inefficient and highly expensive sources of energy. That's the problem. They're not reliable. They're not consistent. They're not cheap. They're very expensive, and they're the most inefficient forms of energy you can have to power a modern economy. So this is the Green New Deal, and they're implementing it right now. And by the way, under Healey, every 6 months, you're paying hundreds of, it doesn't matter. You can keep the thermostat to 0. You're still paying hundreds of dollars more every 6 months. The delivery costs keeps going up and up and up, because they want to squeeze you to the point where you're begging for solar and wind. All you got to do is just tell the working class of this state, you're paying a lot, and you're going to keep paying more and more and more until you cry uncle. How do you lose the election? And then she's going to turn around and say, you're only paying it 7 days a year. People are going to laugh in her face. So, Jeff, so why don't the Republicans do this? It's such a winning issue. If Donald Trump was in Massachusetts, if Donald Trump was running the Mass GOP, this would be issue numero uno. Issue number 2 would be the sanctuary cities and the fact that we're being overrun by illegal aliens. He'd be hitting those 2 issues again and again and again and again and again. And he would bury the Democratic Party. Because the in winning. They're interested in lining their pockets. That's the problem. That you have a corrupt Republican Party in Massachusetts. And to show you how corrupt they are, do you know how many times Democrats I'm not talking just members of Congress. State House Democrats, state Senate Democrats, literally come election time, they don't have an opponent. The Republicans in this state are so in the bag. They're so in the bag for the Democrats, they won't even contest elections. So it's imagine you're playing National Football League. Nah, we're not going to field the team. What? No, we're not going to field a team. We can't win. Forget it. Now, number one, it guarantees re-election. It guarantees a permanent Democrat majority. But you know what it also does? It frees up resources for Democrats. Because now, if there is a strong Republican in, let's say, a closer district, that they can maybe challenge a Democrat, now they can pool all their resources, the Democrats can, to crush and overwhelm that Republican. The Republican Party is paid to lose. And they're run by RINOs. And that's the problem. And until that changes, we're not going to win. Period. Full stop. Because in the end, all they care about is money. Okay, let's go to Dan in New Hampshire. Thanks for holding, Dan, and welcome.
Thanks for taking the call, Jeff.
My pleasure, Dan.
I have to say that you have a really exciting show. I enjoy listening to it. Jeff, to get back to Newsom.
Yes.
They're losers. They have nothing. Newsom could stand up and say, look, we should have some small nuclear sites that generate energy in California, Texas, and all of these areas that, you know, are paying super electric bills like I'm sure you're paying, Massachusetts. But that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense to them. It doesn't register. They're into the Green New Deal. Any, you know, clean coal ideas, any natural gas ideas, any of the things that make any sense and save people money, they don't think of. They have absolutely nothing in their arsenal of ideas to solve anything other than the fact that they're in complete disagreement with absolute everything that Trump's been successful with. And let me tell you, bring on Gavin Newsom. Please bring him on, because he's gonna fall just like candle pins in a bowling alley. And I can tell you right now, we're sick and tired. The people of the United States are sick and tired of not going to sleep at night, feeling unrested, feeling insecure, feeling that something could go seriously wrong in the country, which, you know, let's face it, we were right on the threshold of the transformation of America. And believe me, these people could have tasted it. They do taste it. And that's why they still don't have any ideas that are really reasonable or feasible or make any sense to anybody with any logic. As far as I'm concerned, they don't have a chance. This next election's coming up. The bottom line is, have you heard any of them say or anybody come up with an idea on their own that's actually original? So the bottom line is that how can you win an election by saying the other guy's bad, he's doing this, he's doing that? Well, he's winning. He's solving world problems. He's solving wars. He's solving the chemical problems that we have in the country as far as the fentanyl and, you know, the dealing of people and the, you know, prostitution. I mean, our president has done more in the short period of time that he's been in office. And what have they got? What have they done for, you know, the last 12 years? Nothing. Nothing except run us into the ground and make us an embarrassment of the world, take our power away, take our respect away, take our freedoms away, and leave us with nothing, with no solutions, no good answers, nothing. So the bottom line is that Newsom's got nothing. Any of the mayors that are in any of these cities, they've got nothing also. And then when they do see something that's working, fight, fight, fight. We don't want that. Well, you know what? The rest of the country does. I feel secure. I feel like we've got some credibility and we've got some strength. That's what Trump brings on.
Oh, Dan, there's no question. No, there's no question. And look, I'll sum it up. You nailed it. You absolutely nailed it. And I'll sum up the Dems' problem, the Democrats' problem in a nutshell. They are at war with reality. That's their problem. And look, notice when Bill and Sudbury called, and I said, you have to gerrymander to even try to stay competitive. You have to. Because if it's a free, fair election, I go, just look at the map. It's an ocean of red in county after county after county, all across the country, with a few blue little dots, you know, Chicago in the middle and maybe Madison or wherever, or, you know, out on the coastal, you know, the coastal elites, the coastal cities. But outside of that, it's a sea. It's an ocean. What sea? It's an ocean of red. Now, if they weren't gerrymandering, on top of including illegals in the U.S. Census, I'm telling you, you would have 250 to 260 Republicans House seats in Congress. The Democrats would be at 160, 170. They'd be a rump minority party because that's how unpopular their agenda is. And notice when you lay it out, just in 2 minutes, I said, well, who opened up the border? You guys did. Who was the one that drove inflation through the roof? You guys did. Who is the one that disaster in Afghanistan? That was you. Who allowed crime to explode in our cities? You. I said, this is all you. And no one ever said stop. No one ever said, my God, we're committing. Forget the morality, the ethics of the issue. That it's bad for Americans, bad for America, bad for the world. Just let that go, as I like to say. No. Just, it's political suicide. Nope. And they're not stopping. What doubled? They're tripling down. Zoran Mamdani, I don't know if you've seen the latest polls. He's running away with it now. He is destroying Andrew Cuomo. Adams now is in single digits. Curtis Sliwa, the Republican, is what, 11%? If the election were held today, Mamdani wins in a landslide. So they're not, they're tripling down. He's their guy. They love him. Gavin Newsom is the Mamdani of the West Coast. Maura Healey is the Mamdani of the East Coast. Elizabeth Warren, full-throated endorsement of Mamdani. She didn't say he's just good for New York. He's good for America. He's now the leader of the Democratic Party. Bernie, Elizabeth Warren, AOC, Mamdani, Gavin Newsom. These are hardcore socialist communists. That's what they are. So their answer is we want, no. We want to globalize the Intifada. What? No. We're pro-Hamas. No. Government-run grocery stores. No. Quote-unquote, free childcare, free bus fare, free subway. Now, here in Massachusetts, they want to ban gas stoves, ban SUVs from the city of Boston. I mean, I could go on and on. So, no. This is the Red-Green Alliance. 617-266-6868 if you want to be part of the show. Okay, just very quick, because I want to go back to the blazing phone lines. Where are Democrats now being politically killed again? Look what's happening in D.C. Trump has outmaneuvered them again. So the D.C. crime crackdown is now in full swing. Don't quote me. I'm seeing different numbers. But I'm seeing 400, I'm seeing 450, I'm seeing 350. So about 400 National Guard troops, okay? Give or take a dozen here or a dozen there. But about 400 National Guard troops have now been deployed onto the streets of Washington, D.C. Another 400 are on their way. The police commissioner of D.C. is now answering directly to Pam Bondi. The head of the DEA is now effectively the new police commissioner. So what you're seeing now is that police are being told, the local police, the Metropolitan Police Department, start making arrests. Take the gangbangers off the streets. People who are wanted for murder, we want you to actually execute these search warrants and start putting handcuffs and putting them behind bars. So they're arresting criminals now by the dozens. Apparently, 150 were arrested just last night. And already, we're talking now just a few days, the residents of Washington, D.C., and again, I'm being brutally honest, overwhelmingly black, overwhelmingly African American, are coming out and saying, we love Trump's crime crackdown. We love it that the National Guard has been mobilized and surged. We love it now that they've taken the handcuffs off of the police. And the police now are being told, do your jobs, start going after the gangbangers, the drug dealers, the murderers, the rapists, the criminals who have been preying upon innocent victims. Here, I'll just give you an example. There were 29 murders last year of teenagers, okay, those under the age of 18. 29. And you should see some of their faces. It's heartbreaking. I mean, some of them are 12, 13, 14 years old, beautiful, wholesome cheeks, beautiful eyes. All of them black. All of them black. All 29 black. So far this year, 16 of those under 18 murdered in the District of Columbia, all of them, you guessed it, black, of the African American community. That's 45 just in the last year and a half. Only 30% of those that were murdered, I'm not talking shot, maimed, mugged, raped, no, burglarized, whatever, assaulted, no, I'm saying murder. Only 30% of those that perpetrated the crimes against these victims, only 30% of the victims, there was actually an arrest. For 70% of those murder victims, they haven't arrested anybody. Nobody. Nothing. Meaning the murderers are walking the streets. La-da-da, la-da-da. And with no consequences whatsoever. If you can murder people and get away with it, what do you think you're going to do? They're going to murder again. And it's gotten so bad. I'm going to play you some cuts. You got to hear it to believe it. The black community has become so demoralized, they don't even report the crimes anymore. They openly say it because no one's going to get punished, so why should we bother? And these idiots in the media, crime is at a 30-year low. Well, now you have Democrats, listen to this, liberal journalists who are now coming out and saying, nah, we can't peddle this BS. Like we just the lies, we can't. Why? Because we're getting mugged on the way to work. We're getting carjacked on the way to work. We're literally being assaulted on the way to work. We're petrified to walk the streets of our own city. I don't want to play the cut because I can't stand the guy. MS Left BC, Joe Scarborough. Okay, and you know I can't stand him. But even a stop clock is right twice a day. Openly admitted on the air. He goes, let me tell you something. In secret, most Democrats are cheering what Trump is doing. They're cheering what Trump is doing. Listen now. I can't believe I'm going to do this. Listen now. Ellie Honig, the legal analyst at This Is CNN. Listen now to him saying, honestly, crime is so bad in Washington, D.C., I don't have a problem with what Trump is doing. And to be honest, in any other city, in any other state, with a different president, everybody from across the political spectrum would be applauding it. Roll cut 13. Mike.
I've worked extensively with police, and I don't have a problem tactically with what Donald Trump is doing here. He doesn't have to be the most dangerous place on earth. Something can be improving, but still really bad. If your house is on fire and then a third of the fire goes out, it's less bad, but it could still be an emergency. I work in D.C. It is dangerous there. You cannot deny that. And a common police tactic is to surge resources. We call them task forces. They're applauded across the board, across the political board. I've done it in New Jersey. I've done it in New York. You take the FBI, you team them up with the Newark PD, what have you. You make a visible presence. Now, is some of it for appearance and show? Yes, because what it does is A, it assures people. It gives people a bit of confidence and security. And B, it deters people from committing crimes. So it's not going to hurt. And this is a situation that needs to be improved.
I mean, this is CNN. This is CNN. In other words, like, I can't lie. Like, I can't. You're asking me to lie. I can't do it because I'm petrified. I'm scared to walk the streets. Now, this is all, by the way, from Black Lives Matter. This is all as a result of George Floyd, the 2020 so-called Summer of Love, defund the police, handcuff the police, attack and demonize the police, and crime has exploded in blue city after blue city after Democrat-run city after Democrat-run city. And instead of saying, yeah, it's good. Like, yeah, we support this. Elect us and we'll do what Trump is doing. Nope, he's a dictator. That's what Schumer is saying. That's what Pelosi's saying. That's what Hakeem Jeffries is saying. That's what all these AOC, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie, all of them. In fact, what they're saying is, this is authoritarianism. This is a dictatorship. Again, they're on an 80-20 issue. This is the hill they want to die on? It is so bad. Even NPR, National Public Radio, listen to this, saying residents in D.C. are saying they've had enough. Roll cut 15. Mike.
So I get on the metro and I went across the Anacostia River to Congress Heights. This is among the poorest areas of the city. Vast majority of the population is black. And also the D.C. police say this is part of an area with among the highest violent crime rates in the city. But unlike U Street, people in Congress Heights said crime is a really big problem there. Shootings, robbery, burglaries. In fact, some say crime is worse than the statistics show because many say have given up reporting to police because they feel a lot of crimes go unpunished.
Now, I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. Okay, just super quick because I want to go right back to the phone lines. What you're seeing now in Washington, D.C., within a couple of days, the stunning success of the police now finally being unshackled and being allowed to do their job. And by the way, because now the city has been federalized temporarily, no more sanctuary city status in D.C. So they're also rounding up a lot of illegal aliens, criminal illegal aliens. So it's not just, domestic criminals. It's, illegal alien criminals that are now being arrested by the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. And the fact that there's a much heavier police presence, a National Guard presence, already residents are saying within 48 to 72 hours, we see the difference. We can walk the streets at night. Our kids feel safe in the day. We're not hearing gunshots all day, all night. Suddenly, we're not seeing drug dealers on every street corner. Suddenly now, your car doesn't disappear in the morning. There's no carjackings. Not that there's none, but they're going down. It's being reduced substantially. Now, my point is just this. If Trump can succeed at this, and I believe he will, can you imagine what this is going to do to places like New York City or Chicago or Boston or Atlanta or Philadelphia or LA or all these other many minority groups, not just African Americans, are going to look at this and say, why aren't our Democrat mayors doing what Trump did in D.C.? If in a couple of months, just by imposing law and order through just sheer will and determination and, care, actually caring, it's not rocket science. More cops and lock the bad guys up. It's that simple. And suddenly now people aren't being murdered. People aren't being raped. Drugs aren't filling up the streets. Our young people aren't overdosing. Teenagers aren't being shot dead in the face. Our schools are going to be safe again. Our streets are going to be safe again. Our neighborhoods are going to be safe again. We've been had again by the Democratic Party. We've been betrayed again by the Democratic Party. And here's my prediction. Yes, Latinos and blacks went for Trump, especially Latinos and black men, big in the last election. He pulls this off, he's going to get even more. Millions more are going to become MAGA Republicans because of this. In other words, Trump's going to say, and he's right, if I can do it in D.C., why can't we do it in New York or in Newark or in Baltimore or in Chicago or in Boston or in Houston or in Los Angeles or in Atlanta? And that's what the Democrats fear, because they've been hijacked and taken over by the radical extreme left, the Marxist communist left. These are the ones who hate the police, the Mamdanis. Hell, they want to abolish prisons. Forget abolish police. They want no prisons. So you're not going to arrest anybody? Nope. Do you understand what you're going to unleash by doing that? That's why they need to gerrymander. That's why they need to steal elections. That's why they need illegals. Otherwise, they can't win. Who would vote for such an insane platform? Now, you want to see how this is what's going to bury the Democrats. Here it is. Instead of saying, ooh, this is starting to become really popular. Like, these are, remember, D.C. is, 93, 94, 95% Democrat? It's one of the biggest Democrat strongholds in the country. And blacks are coming out and saying, we love this, that Trump is doing it. We love what Trump is doing. Give us more. If I'm a Democrat, I'm like, whatever he's doing, do it twice. In other words, I'm having what he's having and then some. No. Here it is. Chuck Schumer on some podcast I never heard of. So he's now asked, because Trump has 30 days to federalize the police department and to have the National Guard troops in D.C. If Trump goes to Congress after 30 days and asks for an extension, say another 2 months, 3 months, are the Democrats going to support it? Listen to Schumer's answer. Roll cut 20, Mike.
If he went to Congress and said, you know what, there's this crime emergency, we need the National Guard out there longer, we need to take over Washington, D.C., would you grant it?
No way. We'll fight him tooth and nail.
There you go. No effing way. We'll fight him tooth and nail. Okay? Okay. Again, you want to die on this hill? This is the wrong side of the... this is, again, what 80-20? This is a 90-10 issue. So, hey, guys, you want to die on this hill? Go ahead. It's your funeral. I don't care if it's the border. I don't care if it's crime. I don't care if it's inflation. I don't care if it's war and peace. Name your issue. I don't care if it's men and women sports. I don't care if it's transgenderism. I don't care if it's DEI. Just take issue. Trump is killing them. He's killing them. And that's why the Democrats are becoming obsolete. Agree, disagree. Dan in Dartmouth. Thanks for holding, Dan, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff. How you doing today?
Very good, Dan. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. Hey, so I just wanted to get back to the taxation without representation.
Yes, please.
And we have to look at it this way as well, that we are, as Republicans, taxed to the hilt. And at the same time, we are the largest generators of tax revenue in this nation. And you look at New England, we have no representation as far as in the House of the Congress. And so, you look at the amount of tax revenue that's being, it's overwhelming as far as Republicans. Here we are paying most of the taxes, and we have no representation on the national platform. States, I'm talking about nationally. And we should have more of a say based on how much revenue we actually pay. Because you look at the Democrats, a lot of them are working for the government. They're in academia. They're not really producing anything. They're really just kind of living off the lamb. And here we are paying the taxes, and we have no representation. That's not right, Jeff. There's something that is out of balance with the way that we have representation in Congress today. What do you say?
Well, I can only piggyback, because you're completely right. I can only piggyback off of what you're saying. Look, these are the people who vote for the Democrats in this state. You're right, the hacks, many of them, these government bureaucrats that do nothing. And I'm not saying that if you work in the civil service, you're a hack. We need a civil service. Many people do a good job, but the Democrats abuse it. They put their cronies, their friends, their nieces, their nephews, their uncles, their aunt, that's their second cousin. That's what they do. So it's people like that, okay, whether it's, the MTA, I could just go on, okay? Sorry, the MBTA, forgive me. You go on and on. So they're on the public dole in one way, shape, or form. It's either, or it's illegals, or it's people on welfare, the underclass. And that's Bill in Sudbury. Bill in Sudbury doesn't pay taxes. Bill in Sudbury gets $50,000 to $60,000 a year in government benefits that your tax money, my tax money, this audience's tax money pays for. And notice, look at the ingratitude. They don't say thank you. They hate us. Just from a self-interest point of view, they can't afford for us to leave. Like, who's going to pay for all of this? It's us. We're paying. We're the horse that's pulling the cart. The one thing you don't do is shoot the horse. They're shooting the horse. And look, just objectively, Dan, this is the same in Vermont, what I just described to you now. And by the way, you can check this, but I'm telling you, it's 100% accurate. You look at Kuner country. We pay more in taxes. Or we also have a lot of elderly, so they throughout their life, they have paid more in taxes, okay, than any other group in Massachusetts, any other group in New Hampshire, any other group in Maine. I'm just sticking to New England. Any other group to Rhode Island, any other group in Connecticut, any other group in Vermont. It's not even close. We are the tax producers. It's not an expression. We're the backbone of the economy. We're the workers, we're the nurses, we're the truckers, we're the construction people, we're the police officers, we're fire department, we're small business owners. That's who and what we are. How many seats do we have in Vermont? I'm talking in the U.S. House of Representatives. 0. How many do we have in Maine? And that's a 48% state. 48% votes Republican. Okay, 46 to 48. 0. New Hampshire, same thing. 47, 48%. Okay, actually it's 50. They keep stealing it, but let that go. 48%, 0. Massachusetts, 40%, 0. Rhode Island, 40%, 0. Connecticut, 42, 43%, 0. So in the entire region of New England, we, the workers, the taxpayers, the tax producers, we don't even have one member in Congress, okay, in the House. Not one. I'm not trying to be a rabble rouser. I'm just telling everybody the truth. You go back in a time machine to 1775. What do you think our founding fathers would say? They say, guys, it's time to pick up the pitchfork. I'm not advocating violence. Please don't get me wrong. I'm just being honest with you. They'd say, this is taxation without representation. This is theft. This is government abuse of power and government theft. And when you say, just give us one seat, that's one too many. Hell, just give us one voice, Jeff Kuhner. I'm serious. The Kuhner Report, 4 hours, okay, with a lot of commercials, but let that go. That's above my pay grade, okay? A lot of commercials thrown in, Monday to Friday. They want me off the air. They want me off the air. They're doing everything in their power to get me off the air. With the collusion and collaboration of the Massachusetts Republican Party and the RINOs in New Hampshire and the RINOs in Rhode Island and the RINOs in Maine and the RINOs in Vermont. They're like, get this guy off the air. So they won't even, in theory, allow us to have a freaking radio show. Never mind a member of Congress. And they call us intolerant? We're the dictators? They're disgusting. They're disgusting. No, it's time. I'm sorry. Just in Massachusetts, I'm not going to go beyond it for now. Okay? We should, but I'm just saying, just for the sake of argument, 40% of the vote, I want one seat in Congress. We should have 2. Maybe even 3. But, definitely 2. No, I just want 1. That's it. I just want 1. I don't care. 1. Just 1. Just 1. Give us 1. They won't do it. Dan, that tells you everything you need to know. Am I wrong, Dan?
No, you're absolutely right. And I liken it to a Viking ship. And we're the rowers on the ship, the Republican taxpayers, the ones that are generating revenue from actually producing something, are the rowers. And all the Democrats are sitting in the back, or even like on water skis, and then Maura Healey says, you got to row faster because we're not enjoying the trip. Keep it up, row faster. You know what? It's about time we had a mutiny of the ship, because I'll tell you, we pay so much in taxes without representation. It goes all the way back to the point where you couldn't even vote in the early days of this country unless you own property. And we are essentially owners of, again, tax revenue generated by the state, and she squanders it. It doesn't make sense to me, Jeff, and something's got to be done.
It's an abuse of our rights. I mean, if you really want to talk in 18th century, founding fathers terms, if we could have Samuel Adams and John Adams, and to me, these were great founding fathers. But George Washington and Jefferson and Alexander Hamilton, Ben Franklin, if we could resurrect them and have them sit, call into the show, literally, they would say, they would say, I'll give you the 18th century language. This is a usurpation and abuse of our fundamental rights and liberties. That's what they would say. They would start, it's time to petition. And, with the threat of, if you don't accede, we're going to take it to the next level. I got to be careful. They want to take me off the air. So I'm not advocating for violence, please. But I'm saying if I'm in a classroom now and we're just having a philosophical discussion, yeah, the founding fathers would be on our side all the way. And honestly, look, can I be honest? If they just said to us, thank you. No, really. We love you. You're taxpayers. You're welcome here. Call into the Kuhner Report. Hey, you guys don't have any seats. Too bad. But thank you. No, we're the ones in the Viking ships that are rowing, and I'm sorry, they're urinating on us. They're drinking wine and then pouring the wine on our heads and making fun of us. I'm just telling you the truth. They mock us. They vilify us. They demonize us. I can't tell you how many emails I get where they tell me, get out of Boston. Get out of Massachusetts. And I'm like, okay. I mean, maybe eventually, I'm never going to leave, just so that you know. But, if you get your wish, do you know how much I pay in taxes? Like you, Dan, like this audience. Or if you're, again, retired, how much I paid in taxes over my 40, 50, 60-year career working my rear end off. You can't afford for us to go. Like, who's going to pay for the welfare? Who's paying for the Section 8 housing? Who's paying for the EBT? Like, who's paying for all the pensions and all these salaries and all the benefits? Who do you think is paying for all this? Us? We're the golden goose that keeps laying the golden egg. And you want to chop our heads off? Are you insane? They don't even know their own self-interest. And trust me, Dan, that's communism. That's communism. Say what you want. Bill Clinton was not I didn't like Bill Clinton. I couldn't stand him. But notice what Bill Clinton always said. No, whoa. Yes, I want big social programs. Yes, I want big government. But don't kill the private sector. Why? Because that's the one that gives us all the tax revenue to spend all the money. That's the golden goose. Don't kill the golden goose. Don't be stupid. That's long gone now. Now it's communism. And what do communists do? They destroy the peasantry. They destroy the productive classes of society. They destroy. Dan, thank you very much for that call. I really appreciate it. Excellent call. 617, and a courageous call. 617-266-6868. Michael in Beverly. Thanks for holding, Michael, and welcome.
Jeff, long time, Michael, from Beverly. Listen, I ran for mayor against the mayor of Beverly that put up a Black Lives Matter flag. I took down a veteran flag, and he had a friend file false charges against me, so I had to drop out. That's number one. Number two is this, Jeff. It's 10 times worse than you think. I've been involved with the Trump team, the Spiritual Advisory Board, for 10 years. I was also your bodyguard when we opened up in prayer to get people back to work in Boston. And the reason China did this all over the world with this virus was to put masks on us so we can't talk. And in other words, what they're doing to the kids is beyond recognition. They said 20 years ago, give us the bedrooms. Now they want to take our kids on with drag queen story hour in kindergarten, drag queen story hour in the military. See, the reason Trump is beating Putin because the Christians are getting murdered all over the world and no one's saying nothing. Okay. Now when I told Trump team to grab the phones of the people in the college campuses, they did. And the guy was there at 29 years old, was in Columbia, was not a student, and he had a phone number to the direct general from Hamas. This is all true. The reason the border was wide open was to get the votes like you talk about. But when I told the Trump team there's 1,000 factories in China with fentanyl, they're killing us and killing us and killing us, and no one cares but you. In other words, it's like this. It's good versus evil. It's way beyond that. When I told Trump he was going to be assassinated, and I found out the FBI sniper team was told to stand down because they knew the guy was on the roof.
Well, Michael, look, there's no question that the deep state, I believe, in alliance with China, is clearly our mortal enemy. There's no question. There's no question. And I'm hoping that when Trump meets with Putin today, that not only do they come together with a deal, and obviously they're going to have to get the Ukrainians to buy in, but that it ends the war in Ukraine, but that we finally bring Russia into the fold, make a friend of Russia to break their alliance with China. Because ultimately, our long-term enemy and adversary, contrary to what the Democrats, the deep state, the media, the neocons, the establishment Republicans want us to believe, is not Russia. For all of his flaws, Putin is a nationalist and not a globalist. He doesn't want the globalists. Our long-term enemy, without a doubt, is Communist China. And internally, the fifth column is the deep state. And so, to me, that's what we have to defeat. If not, I think we're in big trouble as a country. So, I'm hoping that Trump can peel, not just end the war, but peel Russia away from the embrace of the communist Chinese. If he can do that, that'll be a huge diplomatic victory, both for the United States and, frankly, for the forces of patriotism all over the world. Chip in Marshfield. Thanks for holding, Chip, and welcome.
Jeff, how are you today?
Very good. How are you, Chip?
I'm great. You know what I got to say? I've been listening back to 25 years ago when you filled in for Michael Savage with Borders, Language, and Culture, and liberalism is a mental disorder. And I can't say how right he was back then, but, you know, a few things. A couple of ideas were already stolen from me. One of them, the taxation without representation. But this governor in Massachusetts has ordered these utility companies to increase these costs through delivery charges. And what people don't realize, your bill may have doubled, but the electric or the gas company, they're not making that money.
Oh, no, it's all Healy. You're right. No, you're completely right. It's all the state government. It's just more money into their coffers. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, my friends, look, it's the 9 o'clock hour. Friday, it's the dog days of August. All of these issues that we've been talking about, they're going to be there waiting for us on Monday. So let's have a little bit of fun. All right, we got about 40 minutes left in the show. So, and I wanted to ask all of you, is this now potentially the end of the world? Now, the reason why I'm saying this is that there is now a theoretical physicist at Harvard University. His name is Avi Loeb. This story, you probably heard of it. It's gone everywhere. The New York Post, but many others have interviewed him. Now, apparently, according to Avi Loeb, Professor Loeb, he now says it's do or die for planet Earth. That we humans have to now decide how we're going to deal with contact with, yes, space aliens, with extraterrestrials. And he says time now literally could be running out. Why? He's sounding the alarm, saying there is now an interstellar object, which is now hurling towards planet Earth. And he says this could be an alien probe. In fact, he's convinced it's an alien probe. So it's some kind of an object that has been spotted, this is accurate, hurtling towards Earth, and it's coming apparently from outside our solar system. Now, most scientists believe this is a comet, an asteroid, a comet, whatever. However, Professor Loeb says no. No. Why? Because comets have a glow, but the glow is from the back. This one has a strange light, sort of almost like a light form glow, but it's preceding this interstellar object. And so to him, that means, yep, you guessed it, it's some kind of a spaceship, some kind of an alien saucer, extraterrestrials. This could be, as he put it, a probe. And so this is now what he told, there it is, Mike. The X-Files, they're out there. They're out there, Mike, and they're coming for us now. So, according to him, this is what he said in an interview. We are worried about existential threats from artificial intelligence, from global climate change, even from an asteroid impact. But we never discuss alien technology. And he fears, I'm not kidding, that this could be some kind of an alien probe, an alien spaceship. And apparently they did discover this interstellar object in June. Astronomers now have cataloged it as 31/Atlas. And apparently it's going to be coming near Earth at around Halloween. But according to Professor Loeb, he says no. This could be an alien craft speeding deliberately towards Earth, and maybe they're probing, maybe they want to land, maybe they want to set up a colony. And so he says that we need to be prepared. And he's calling now for I swear to you, an international organization where all the great countries of the world come together and we have a policy on how to deal with what could be now an extraterrestrial spaceship. So this could be the end here. Who knows? We'll see. Now, he says if this is an alien spaceship, then according to Professor Loeb, remember, this is a theoretical physicist at Harvard. So, he's not a stupid man. He's an intelligent man. The world needs to consider the alien force's intentions. In other words, what's its intent? What are its properties? Does it mean us well or does it mean us harm? And he said we can only decide on a policy on how to treat this potential extraterrestrial spaceship, okay, this potential alien probe or even an invasion. We can't decide until we know what its intentions are. Now, on top of all of this, because now everybody's talking about, are we now being visited by aliens? What's the next step? Are we finally going to meet ET? Are we finally going to meet extraterrestrials? Tulsi Gabbard, Director of National Intelligence, was on a podcast, and she made some interesting remarks. She was asked if she believes in aliens, in space aliens. Listen to her response. Roll cut 23, a mic.
Nothing that I'm prepared to talk about today.
Ooh. So watch this space.
Say what?
Watch this space.
We are I'm just going to say this. We're continuing to look for the truth and share that truth with the American people.
Now, hold on. There was then a follow-up. And this is what got a lot of people talking. Tulsi Gabbard, now again, she's privy to a lot of intelligence, classified, highly sensitive information. She was said, well, I got to ask you, are there space aliens? Do you believe in space aliens? Listen to her response. Very, very interesting. Roll cut 24, a mic.
So do you believe that there could be aliens?
I honestly, like my personal belief, I have my own views and opinions.
Right.
In this role, I got to be careful with what I share.
Very interesting.
I'm laughing. My husband's laughing in the corner because we have these same conversations, and obviously I don't share any classified information. Outside of my building with those who have clearances, but this is fun that he's here to watch this right now.
Does that sound like a backdoor yes? I mean, she didn't say anything, but I have my personal beliefs, and the way she's kind of chuckling and laughing, i.e., like I do believe there are space aliens, but I can't share any information. It's all classified. Okay, joining us now, as she always does at this time, the co-founder, CEO, president of Kelly Financial Services, and yes, that is her wonderful name, Kelly. Kelly, how are you?
Good morning, Jeff. I am good. If retirement is 5 or 10 years away, it's not too early and it's certainly not too late to start preparing with purpose. In my book, Retire Your Fear, Plan Your Future, I share how to take the uncertainty out of planning so you can move forward with real confidence, knowing you've covered the important things and avoided the costly mistakes that can derail a great retirement. Because the truth is, it's not just about the numbers. It's about creating a future that you can look forward to with less stress and more peace of mind. To get your copy of my book or to speak with one of our Kelly advisors, give us a call or email kelly@kellyfinancial.org. Jeff, I'll continue this conversation with our Kelly advisors tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. on Safe Money Strategies Radio. Do tune in or visit our website for the Radio Rewind. Jeff, have a wonderful weekend. My best to Grace and the kiddos.
Stay nice and cool, Kelly. All the best to you and everyone at Kelly Financial. Okay, have a wonderful weekend. Again, to get a free copy of their guide, call now, 888-800-1881, 888-800-1881, or you can actually email Kelly yourself, Kelly at kellyfinancial.org, Kelly at kellyfinancial.org. All right, let me ask all of you, Kuner Country. It is the Kuner Country poll question of the day, sponsored by Kelly Financial Services. Does Tulsi Gabbard believe in extraterrestrials? So, again, the Kuner Country poll question of the day, sponsored by Mario's. Mario's Quality Roofing, Siding, and Windows. Does Tulsi Gabbard believe in extraterrestrials? I think the answer is yes, just from that podcast and the clips that we played, but that's me. I want to hear from you. A, yes. B, no. You can vote on our webpage, wrko.com/Kuner, wrko.com/Kuner. You can also vote via X, my handle there. It's all one word, at the Kuner Report, K-U-H-N as in national E-R. And I just want to give everybody a heads up. I will be on Newsmax again today at 11:45 Eastern. So in about, what is it? Just more than 2 hours away from now, 11:45 a.m. I'll be debating a liberal on their political panel. And so if you want to tune in and watch the Kuner Man, you can. All right. Let me just quickly set the table, and then I want to go right to the phone lines. I'm just curious. Do you believe in extraterrestrials? That's, to me, I think, the big question. Do you think that this professor at Harvard University, is he right? Is this now potentially a space alien probe? And just for the sake of argument, say this is not a comet, this is not an asteroid, some other, interstellar object, but this is truly some kind of a spaceship, saucer, whatever, extraterrestrial ship. And they are now searching, is there life on Earth? What kind of life forms are we? How should we respond? I was telling this to Grace last night. I don't know if we should shoot it down. I'm just saying, maybe we don't want to get into an intergalactic war. Start some kind of an intergalactic, war among, with space aliens. Their guns could be bigger and stronger and more powerful than our guns. So maybe I wouldn't shoot it down. But then again, do you want to meet with them? What if they have some kind of a disease or virus or bacteria and ends up killing off the entire planet? You see what I'm saying? You don't know what their intentions are. So how would how should we respond if there's like this spacecraft that just with these crazy lights and it's hovering? And then the other thing is I'd be thinking, do they want to colonize us? I don't want to be colonized by space aliens, do you? Now, Graham on Messenger said maybe liberals now will grant sanctuary cities to these illegal aliens, to these real illegal aliens, to these space aliens, They're illegal. They're coming in from another galaxy. They're definitely aliens. What the hell? Do they get free housing too? Do they get ABT? Do they get welfare checks? Is Healy going to say, yeah, we're sanctuary city, sanctuary state. Come on down to Boston. I'm just saying. Now, look, personally, I would keep him at arm's length. I don't know how Mike feels about this, but I'm like, I'm good. You guys stay on your planet. We stay on our planet. We won't bother you. You don't bother us. but that's me. I want to hear from you. 617-266-6868 is the number. Mike, I got to ask you, are you for just shooting him down? Just we see him and just, launch a couple of missiles and just take him out? Well, I don't know. I mean, that's the thing. We don't know if they're friendly or not, Mike. And how can we communicate? I'm sure they speak some kind of space alien language. You think they speak English, Mike? Interesting. Look at this. You think they're smarter than us? Well, I mean, I guess. I mean, that's what I'm saying, Mike. You're right. If they can travel through all these solar systems to get here with that kind of technology, I don't know if we want to mess with them. That's not. Anyway, now look, there is a theory out there, and I'm quite sympathetic to it. This could be aliens coming back, the mothership, calling back all the moonbats. I have a theory. We always say liberals are different people. Like, say, take Bill in Sudbury. He's just a different guy. He just thinks differently, acts differently. It's almost like they're not human. Maybe they've been amongst us the whole time. And that explains the moonbats. That explains liberals and how they live, how they act, how they vote, how they think. And maybe they're going to shed their human form now that the mothership is here. And they'll go like, Obama, 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 like zombies. And maybe they're either all returning to the mothership or the mothership is coming and this is it now. They're trying to colonize us. If that's the case, shoot them down. Otherwise, if the moonbats want to go on that ship and go to another planet, please. And I'm telling you, they're going to wreck Mars in 5 years. Everyone is going to say Mars was such a great planet. It was nice. It was cool. Oh, I mean, no violence. Never did anything. Beautiful planet. And by the time the moonbats are done, I mean, Mars is a dump. So anyway, I'm just asking all of you, is this an alien space probe? And if it is an alien space probe, what should we do, if anything? Mike, Mike, I asked for X-Files music. You give me Gloria Gaynor. I will survive. And then he says to me, well, Jeff, that's why I'm playing the music. We're going to have to survive if these aliens drop these death beams on us. 617-266-6868. Okay, it is 9:49 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuner, Boston's bulldozer. What do you think? Are we about to finally meet extraterrestrials? And what should we do? Bob in North Reading. Thanks for holding, Bob, and welcome.
Thanks, Jeff. I got out of the Marine Corps in 1977. I worked for a plumber, and he said, we're going to go meet a woman today who I can see you marrying. Long story short, it was Betty Hill. I don't know if you're familiar with her story. Anyway, she showed me a picture of her belly button, Jeff, that had a scab on it the size of a silver dollar. Told me all these stories. She told me how someday the doctors are going to know everything about us through our umbilical cord. Well, look at what's going on now with the stem cell, blah, 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 blah. I told the doctor this at Mass General. He really got excited about it. And she also told me, and I just out of Marine Corps for 2 weeks, and her house scared the hell out of me. He said that there will never be a third world war. They won't allow us to ruin the earth. Now, I don't know if that stuff is true. I mean, I was a Marine, and we don't think that way.
Sorry, who won't allow us to have a third world war? You mean the space aliens?
Yeah, it's probably the Democrats flying around up there, but yeah, that's what she said, Jeff. This is what she told me. Now, I'm a former Marine and a former firefighter. I don't consider myself a wacko, but yeah, I mean, this has been since 1977. She told me this, and as far as
that extraterrestrial space aliens are here, they're monitoring us, they're watching us, and that they will not allow us to destroy ourselves in a third world war.
Well, I don't know if they're here watching us. Sometimes you think they may be with Schumer, but I don't. All I know, Jeff, is I love your show. Me and all my buddies are former Marines. We love your show, but I don't know anything about that stuff. I hope that she's right about this too, because she certainly is right about stem cells and everything.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah.
Bob, thank you for your service. God bless you, and have a great weekend, my friend. So Bob is, I mean, what do you think? You think that space aliens would prevent us from having a nuclear war? I mean, if they exist. I mean, assuming you believe they exist. So let me ask all of you, do you believe that space aliens exist? And do you believe this is a potential probe? And just, have a little fun. What should we, really, if this is a probe, what should we do, if anything? 617-266-6868. Mike, who do you want me to go to next? Back to Chip in Marshfield? I thought you dropped Chip in Marshfield. Is Chip called back, or is it a different Chip? You don't remember, Mike. Okay, now we just lost Chip in Marshfield. All right, now you're getting chippy with me. Pardon the pun. Now you're like, okay, go to Mike in Saugus. All right, let's go to Mike in Saugus. Mike, thanks for holding, and welcome.
Yes, Jeff. I don't believe any of it from these professors. I have to continuously put my trust in God because he's my source of strength. He tells you the truth. But if it is true, why don't we send the politicians from Massachusetts to space? Because that's where they need to go. We're so sick of them here in Massachusetts. Jeff, it's time for a rally. We need 10,000 people at the State House.
Mike, hold on. You're saying put the Massachusetts congressional delegation, throw in Elizabeth Warren and Ed Markey. Put them on maybe like Elon Musk, one of his ships, or Jeff Bezos, one of his ships?
Definitely.
And they can meet the extraterrestrials.
Definitely.
Oh, Mike, I love it. I love it, Mike. But then, but hold on. Do you want space aliens to look at the mass delegation and say, that's representative of Earth? I mean, have you thought of that, Mike? Can you, woo, 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 they'll see Elizabeth Warren, the fake Indian, woo, 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 and they'll be like, whoa, you're an Indian? No. The space aliens will say, oh my God, look at these crooks, con men, and grifters. Is that all this planet consists of? I don't know if we want to do that, Mike. They're not going to have a good impression of humankind. Let's put it that way. Mike, thank you very much for that call. 617-266-6868. Let's go to Mike. Who do you want to go to? Lee in Quincy. Thanks for holding, Lee, and welcome.
I think it's the Messiah is coming back. It's taken a while, but he's got a ship, and he's on the way. That's what I think.
So you think this is the end of the world, then?
No, I think.
When the Messiah comes back, right? It's the end of the world. That's when Jesus is going to come back,
and everything will be fine, and there'll be peace. And the lion will lie down with the lamb.
So you think this is it? This could be the second coming of Jesus.
That's what I believe.
Interesting. All right, thank you, Lee.
Okay.
I don't think the Bible lays it out like that, but hey, to each his own. Lee, thank you for that call. Let's squeeze one more in. Nick in Gardner. Nick, is this the end?
No, it's not the end. But what I called about was I live in north central Massachusetts, and my energy bill per month is $68.
Nick, keep going. Your energy bill?
It's $68 a month.
That's it? Nick, how the hell do you get $68 a month?